Hi, everyone. Good evening, afternoon, or night, depending on where you're joining from. And thank you so much for attending SFTV's Graduate Open House. My name is Lisa. I am the recruiter for all four of the SFTV grad programs we'll be discussing today. And we're going to start our time together by going over everything you need to know about each of the four programs. Our application deadline is coming up on November 15th, but we have plenty of time until then. Joined with me today are our four graduate program directors, so they'll be speaking on their respective program areas. At the end, we will have a Q&A session with current students from each program for you guys to ask questions to. So let's get started. So we're located in Los Angeles, California. LMU's main campus is on the Westchester campus, and SFTV's graduate film school is on the Playa Vista campus. But you could just think of PVC as an extension of our main campus. We have a shuttle service that goes all over popular LMU spots. So it's under a 5-minute shuttle away from main campus, and the shuttle is free, always on time. So it takes you to every building you'll need to go to and makes campus extremely accessible. So at SFTV, we are all about telling your story. We craft a new generation to create stories that matter, shape a more inclusive and equitable world, and launch successful careers in the world of entertainment. We are ranked number 5 by The Hollywood Reporter. That ranking came out pretty recently, and we're extremely proud of it. You'll probably hear it mentioned a few times throughout this presentation. And we pride ourselves on being a small program. We have about 250 students total, with about an 8-to-1 student to faculty ratio. And our students are always creating projects. We're filming a lot on campus this week alone. I've had a running joke with just about anyone who will listen that it's been hard to get to my lunch in the kitchen area because that's being used as a set. You could think of our whole school as a set, and our professors will get more into that. Our students put on over 600 productions, and as you'll learn, we are always creating. So the 4 programs that we offer is 3 MFA programs. Those are in film and TV production, writing and producing for the television, and writing for the screen. There is a typo on that last line that I will take credit for. Our Master in Entertainment Leadership and Management is not an MFA program, but it is a Master of Entertainment Leadership and Management. So now we'll get started in each of the areas. So go ahead, Mike Kong, take it away.
Hey there, I'm Michael Kong. I'm the grad director for the film production program. And yeah, so thanks for everybody for coming out. I hope you will all, after this thing, apply and we get to see you next fall. But yeah, so I'll tell you a little bit about the production department. This is the kind of what the where you learn all the nuts and bolts of production, and there's a lot of production going on, as we said. Probably of those 600 productions that we do a year, I would say more than 2/3 are from this department. It's a 3-year program. You'll do 60 units total, and basically it's split into two parts. For the first half, the first 3 semesters, everybody takes the same foundational courses, because we really like to pride ourselves on having teaching our students all the aspects of, whether it's cinematography, editing, producing, directing. We want everybody to have this foundation first, and then from there, in the second half, you would choose a specialization for your last 3 semesters. And so there, we have 5 different specializations. You could be directing fiction, which is probably our most popular program. And then there's also directing nonfiction, which is documentaries. We have a great creative producing program, and then also cinematography and editing. Okay. Yep. So, yeah, so for the application, there's an online application with a fee, obviously, as most schools have, and then you need to get all your transcripts to us as well. I think if you have a GPA below 3.0, you'll have to take a GRE, and if you're an international student, you'll need to take a TOEFL or Duolingo or equivalent because you need to be able to be proficient in English for it because for learning here. And in terms of the creative stuff, we're looking for is a personal statement, and then you'll have a visual sample that you'll create. And one thing, what we're really looking for is like we're here to teach you guys the technical aspects, so we're not looking for polished films as a sample, and that's why it can be shot on your cell phone and edited in iMovie. It doesn't. What we're really looking for is interesting voices to really. We want to find unique voices to help teach the other side, which is the technical side, and really foster unique talent to come out. And we really pride ourselves on the diversity of our students and we I don't have the number on me, but we have our students come from all over the world. And we really love to try and find those people who have really unique perspectives on the world that we can help foster. So you put together a 2 to 3 minute sample, and definitely don't, if you've never shot anything before in your life, if you've only done TikTok videos, that's fine. What we're looking for is what is your story, and the same with the personal statement. Like, we want to see what makes you you. Um, and this is redundant. Yeah, so you would do the video sample as well as there's two written pieces. So you'll do an outline for a short film project or short format film project. And that's usually about a page or it can be as short as a half page. But we want to see how you think of stories and how to tell stories. And then this unforgettable moment, we want to hear something about you, something personal. We're really looking to get to know you better through these applications. And you'll also be doing a video recording, kind of introducing yourself. And this is one mistake that I see a lot is people will write their personal statement and then they'll just read their personal statement as their video. Well, what we try and maximize the potential of this application to really show how you shine. So when you do your video recording, you know, think about what you can tell us that's going to help make you stand out. And again, we're not looking for professional. You don't have to have like announcer experience or like you don't have to have been a TV anchor to do this. We're looking to see the authentic you. Is that and then in addition to that, you'll give us a portfolio list. If again, we're not looking for necessarily people who have had extensive credits in film and television, but and it can be your experiences could come from writing, or you might have a background in business, and that's all. Everything can apply. We are looking for well-rounded people here. So in addition to your portfolio list, we were looking for your resume and then 2 letters of recommendation. And you need to find people that you have worked under who can really speak to your work ethic. That's really what we're looking for in those letters of recommendation. And as
Make sure the person writing it likes you, right?
yeah, obviously, I'm pretty sure you would probably think to ask somebody who likes you to write the letter of recommendation, but also we make sure it's somebody that actually knows you, like that has worked with you, like whether it was a professor or a former boss or supervisor. And so yeah, the deadline's coming up in 2 weeks, November 15th. So hopefully that's kind of the broad overview, and I'll be around to answer questions after we go through all the different programs as well.
Thanks. And Mike, sorry to cut in, but just a frequent question we get. Would you mind speaking for a moment or two just about PROD's curriculum, what students can expect class-wise during their time here?
Right. So like I said, in the first year and a half, we're really giving you a well-rounded education. So you're doing post-production, cinematography, in the first semester, post-production cinematography, your first short production class, which is you will actually be shooting three different shorts, all different genres. It'll be an experimental, a nonfiction, and then a fiction project. As well as I think you're doing a film studies class as well. And from there, then you start moving into everybody does their first two film productions over the next 2 semesters. They progressively get more and more in depth. So what's called Prod 550 is a short film project that I think is through 3 to 7 minutes, and it's limited dialogue. It's really about focusing on telling a story visually, and then in the third semester you do what's called Prod 600, which is a longer piece with dialogue. It's about focusing on working on performances and working with actors, and then if you were to continue on doing fiction directing, you would do a thesis project, which would be a longer film, and you would put all those pieces together, and hopefully that would be your calling card into the industry. If you went down a cinematography track, you would be shooting those films or editing as well. You'd be editing those films and putting together a portfolio reel. And as well for creative producing, you would also be producing these thesis projects or equivalent. There's also thesis projects in some of the other programs that you can put on your portfolio, and you'll put together a reel, and then hopefully you launch you into the industry from there. Is that enough?
Yeah, great. Thank you.
All right, the other Mike is going to take over now. My name is Mike Daly. I'm the grad director for the writing and producing for television program. We were one of the newer ones. Now that Mel's come along, we're no longer the new guy. We've been around for about 10, 15 years, and we were an offshoot of the writing program. One of our professors decided that, for television writing, it's quite different than writing film because the jobs are very different. You end up, when you write in television, you end up often becoming a producer on the show, and you can work your way up to what's called show running. And so this program is designed to sort of help people get into television writing and to sort of traject up to a showrunner, job. That's our goal. We'd love to have everyone become showrunners. And the business has changed quite a bit, where it used to be you couldn't become a showrunner of your own show until you spent like 10, 20 years in the business working on other people's shows. But because of a need for more unique stories, some diversity, and all of that, Hollywood has sort of embraced a lot of times a first time showrunner. They usually pair them with an experienced person, but we've had students that get out of here and end up running show. We actually have somebody running a show on Netflix, and shortly after they graduated. So we want to give you enough skills to be able to handle that if that happens that fast, and if not, just to be ready for that inevitability, hopefully. And so writing and producing for television is really designed for that, and it's sort of a hyphenate. So even though the producing is in there, we are unlike Mike's program in actual production. We're not going to teach you how to direct. We're not going to teach you how to edit. We're not going to teach you how to do the various and definitely directing. But what we do want to teach you is how to work with all those people and how to produce and put something together. So you do become, so the director part of this is probably unfair. If you come in with experience directing and you really want to direct your project, we allow it, but we really push for you to work with the director, because that's what television writers end up doing, is that they hire the directors on the TV shows and they have to learn how to work with them to get what they've written to be made, and produce it with them. All right, next slide. I think, do we just go right into yeah, the application process? This will be a little repetitive, but we all have a little bit different ideas on this. So obviously there's the application is necessary, and there's a fee of $50. There we want transcripts from all institutions you've attended, even if it was some part-time stuff. That's always interesting to us because we want to see where you've been and what you've done. The GPA of 3.0, if you don't have, then we do require the GRE. And international applicants, also, we do need the TOEFL or the Duolingo. That is pretty big on our program because we do work so much with the English language in our scripts, and it's largely a writing program. So it is really difficult to do it if you don't have a good grasp of English. So that unfortunately is a little more of a holdback in this program. So the first thing we want is that personal statement. We want you to write an essay and sort of tell us about yourself, what your lived experience, what fuels your creativity, what is at your core, some themes that you're curious and convicted to explore. We want to know some influences of literature, movies, what were meaningful to you that got you into writing, what do you aspire to write like? And what do you want to say and why now? Why now is a good one, is like where do you see yourself putting forward things that, would fit in today's society and in today's landscape of entertainment? I know that's a heavy thing in in 1,000 words, but really we want to hear who you are. So it's a little less of a resume and it's a little more of like, who you really are at your core and what drives you as a person. That's what we want out of that personal statement. This is probably our biggest thing because we're looking for visionaries that have a voice and want to, have something to say. So as much as you can put in there about all that, we would love to hear it. All right, and then the next, we do ask for creative examples. We want one creative challenge and then 2 writing samples. So the creative challenge is we're giving it up right away. One character has to break bad news to another, a confrontation scene in an extraordinary location, or a ride-sharing driver and their customer. So those were 3 of the prompts you can pick from, and it can be any genre. People have taken these in thousands of different ways. And actually, at the beginning and the end or the end of the scene, a hand holds a knife. So we just wanted to add a knife in there. It doesn't have to be something scary. It can actually be somebody cutting cake or something. You never know. So have some fun with that. That's just to sort of see what you can do in a screenplay. The other writing samples can be a screenplay or a television if you have done television before. The second sample should be just like the first 30 pages of something, or another spec. Or, we've taken short stories, 1-act plays. Really anything you've written that you're proud of that shows off who you are would be great for the second one. But we would like to see what you've done as far as writing a screenplay or a teleplay. And that can even be just a half-hour pilot. And it can be a spec of a show that exists. So we've taken those too, because that used to be what you did to get into TV. All right, and then next up would be you're muted, I think. Or if I lost you.
Sorry about that. Well, you just touched upon something great, and a frequent question I've been getting this admission season is, well, what exactly is a spec, or the difference between a spec and a pilot? Do you mind in a moment going over that?
Absolutely, and I'm actually, it's a really bad word because what spec really means is on speculation. And so really anything you write that somebody hasn't paid you ahead of time is on spec. But what in the television word it's sort of become a shorthand for is writing a show that exists. So, and that's what I had to do when I got into television, was that you write, you pick a show that you like, that is popular, you want it to be something people have seen, and you sort of write your own version of an episode of that show. And that's what a lot of times in the television world we call a spec, because it's like you spec Breaking Bad, or you spec, How I Met Your Mother or something like that, where you write an episode. This used to be how you got hired as a television writer. That was all they read, was they would read specs, and you would want to write a spec of a show that's like the show you're trying to get hired on. So if you were, trying to get hired on, like, say, SWAT, you would want to write an hour-long show, probably a military thing or something, and spec that. You don't want to ever, in television, you never wanted to like give them a spec of their show that you're trying to get hired on, because they can get in trouble reading that, because if they ever do something like it, you may try to sue them. There's all that kind of stuff. Now, what they ask for is an original pilot, which means your whole new show that you came up with all on your own. Now, where that's difficult in my mind to write is that that's whole cloth, and you have to sort of not only write a good hour-long or half-hour show, episode, but you have to sort of set up an entire series with that. That has to have great promise. So it's a lot harder a thing to do. So if you're just starting out and you're interested in our program because you want to write for television, I highly recommend doing the spec of a show that exists first, just to help you get writing. And that's really all we need to see. If you just take a stab at that and just imagine what an episode you wrote would be like, and just, like, tackle that. It's so much easier these days to like find online samples of those scripts. And if you use Final Draft, there's actually a lot of templates in Final Draft. If you go to where they have templates, you can bring down a template of a lot of popular shows. So that's the difference there, if that makes sense. An original pilot too is great too. I just think it's a big tackle, and that's what we spend most of our time with you guys doing, is writing original pilots. But we do have a spec class where we have you either do a comedy or a drama spec, that the whole class writes the same show and you treat it like you're on a season of that show. So we have that one too. All right.
Awesome. Thank you for explaining.
Absolutely. And then an additional sample, we'll take anything else if there's something else you want. This is optional, but you're free to put in a short story, prose, and another essay or editorial, something that speaks to you. If there's something you're proud of that you've written in a different medium, we always love to see that. It also shows that you have some range of writing different things. And then a one paragraph synopsis of a screenplay. Well, this is more like, can be actually a television script too. I forgot to change this because this is from what the screenwriters are doing. But a brief one paragraph synopsis of a script you want to write, we do want as well. And then we do ask for a video recording, just 2 minutes, and we want to kind of hold it to 2 minutes. And it just sort of gets you to sort of let us know who you are. Once again, I agree with Mike's advice not to read your personal statement. Try to do something different. Try to explain and really be yourself. You don't have to like put on a big performance. We want to see who you are. We want to see what you're going to be like in our class. A one-page resume, even if it's just, the part-time jobs you've had in college or whatever you have, we just want to see where you come from. You never know what that leads to. And then 2 letters of recommendations. Ideally, if one of those can be somebody who's actually worked with you as a writer, whether it was a professor you had undergrad who taught a writing class, or just anybody who's read your writing, that maybe gave you notes or comments, that would be helpful. Because we'd love to hear who you are as a writer, or if you produced undergrad, or even if somebody can write a recommendation about what you would like to work with on that level too. All right, and then I think that's it. Then I'm gonna hand it off. Do you want me to? Is Waco here yet?
He's not. I was going to say maybe we can jump ahead to the
Yeah,
slide
jump ahead,
first
because there's
pitch and the
after
other.
there's stuff that the 2 writing programs do. Yeah, I can talk about this. So the 2 writing programs, which is my program, and then the one we just skipped over, but we'll go back to, which is writing for the screen, which concentrates more on screenwriting, but also is just out and out a writing program. Both of our programs have a final event, and it's actually after you graduate. It's usually the Thursday after graduation. It's called First Pitch. And this is a picture of it. What we do is it's like speed dating, where you learn to pitch before, in the 3 years you're with us, and you go in armed with 2 really solid pitches, and you get to like meet with industry professionals, which we usually go to managers and producers that are looking to develop content with writers. We don't go to agents. If you want to know about agents, you'll get an agent when you sell something. You don't have to get one before you sell something. So the managers are great though, because managers are the people that will actually develop you as a writer and help get you out there. They can actually land you an agent as well. But those are the people we think that you need to meet as soon as you get out of the program. And so we arrange for about 30 to 50 of them to come for this event. We have you guys all pitch one at a time to each one. Well, not all of them, but you get to pitch to about 10 to 12 of them. in a speed dating style where we do about 7 minutes with each person. And then at the end, there's a big reception. So if there's somebody you didn't get to, pitch to, we often will, help make introductions to the other people. And some people, continue pitching at that party. But it's a great event, and it really has also solidified a lot of people to get signed and read. And one of them led to that guy who runs his own show, ran his own show on Netflix called Ratchet. That happened at first pitch, the beginning of all that. And then the next slide, I think, talks about the directory. So in and along with this, we put together a screenwriting directory for the 2 writing programs. So it's not just for the writing for the screen program, but it's also for mine, writing for television. It's distributed to pretty much everyone in town. This goes to agents and managers. It goes to pretty much all production houses. And each student gets like a page with their photo, their contact information, their phone number, their email address, and then we have you guys work on a short bio, and then also log lines for all you've written at LMU that you are ready to give to somebody to read. So sometimes that's only 3 projects, but almost like that's usually the minimum is 3 projects. Some people put up to 5. I usually don't push for more than that, because even if you've written that much more, you should pick your 5 best. Don't overwhelm people, and don't look like you've written too much, So that's that. That goes that, and the people that come to first pitch get first dibs on a hard copy of this. We hand it to them when they show up, and they get to like look at you guys first. And that's actually how that Ratchet came out, because Evan Romansky, our student who wrote that, it was in this directory, and he didn't get to pitch to the person who was interested in it. So they met afterwards because he looked over the directory, and then that connection went to him getting the rights for Ratchet, and then getting Ryan Murphy involved, and it became a show on Netflix. And then Story Rush. This is going all the way back to when you begin with us and when you join. This is actually a joint thing with all 4 programs now. It comes out of orientation. At the end of orientation, we team up our writers with our producers, and you work together on projects that you pitch the following week. So you have a weekend together to sort of come up with an idea and do a pitch deck. There's usually about 10 people on the team. And we have you all work together. And then basically the Friday of the first week of school, we have an event where you guys all get to come and pitch what you've come up with. And we give you some feedback on that. And the big reason for this is we really want our students to meet each other from the different programs. And especially in my program, which is about, writing and producing for television, you can't really make that project in your last year if you don't get to know some production students. And on the other side of it, the production students, some of them don't really want to be writers and aren't really strong at that. And so we really encourage them to find the writing for the screen students, or even the television students, to help them write their projects. So the idea is we're trying to build collaboration with this event right out of the gate. Hopefully get you to meet people that you may not meet in class, right off orientation. And then I think the next one that goes hand in hand with that is the Industry Mentor Program. This, once again, is for the writing programs. We have set up mentors for everyone who graduated. We do try to match them with people that are in the either world or write the kind of things they like. And they are basically just a touchstone where they meet with you 3 times in the first year that you're out, and try to help you, guide you into the industry. Some of these have led to jobs, some of them have led to like working together. Not all that always does, but we do our best to try to match you with somebody who would be a good fit for you. So that's another thing that comes out of our programs. And then, oh yeah, so then this is Waco here yet? He's not. Oh, there he is. I think he just showed up. Waco, do you want to take this and then we'll go back and do your program? Is he there?
Sure. Hi, everyone.
This is Waco's baby. I'm gonna let him do it.
Should I introduce myself or?
Sure, yeah. And do you want to go back and do your program first?
Oh, wait, have you done your program already, Mike?
Yes, Mike and I have done ours.
Okay, great. Hi, everyone. I'm Waco Len. I'm the graduate director for writing for the screen program. And since we're here, well, I'll talk about the MFA screenwriting competition, and then we'll go into my program. So basically, we launched it last year, and what's really exciting about this is open to second and third year writing and producing for TV students and writing for the screen students only. And the reason why it's limited to second years only is simply because the script that's submitted, it has to be workshopped at LMU workshop, right? So we really specific about the brand, and that's why we're really fortunate to have 40 industry judges, from major management and agencies, from Anonymous Content, Gotham Group, Verve, Entertainment 360, and the list goes on. So the goal had always been, it's not matter if you win per se, or honorable mention. Yeah, our goal is to get your script read by industry professionals. And what's great is it's read blindly. So no one knows. So you're not like, maybe your script doesn't feel ready. It's optional to submit, by the way, to this, option to do so. But the idea is like, if a reader catches the attention of your material, then they'll request the contact information and you start a professional relationship. So that's part of our big thing about professional launch in this program, going through is one of the efforts. And we got picked up by Deadline, which is we're really super excited about. And then we have an awards dinner that happens that we give the awards where our kind of illustrious alum, of various credits would come and in a way present the certificates at a nice dinner, probably in Culver City or somewhere nearby. And then recognize that, and also establishing relationship with the alums and the current students, because we are a community of storytellers. And that's one way how we continue that community. So thank you for allowing me to introduce the screenwriting competition. And it's another thing is, instead of just like Mike Daly and myself, just like, like generals running the thing, we're not. We really empower the students to run it. So we kind of work with, a second and third year student producer from each program to really kind of, help organize and execute this event. Also with the support of our grad assistants, who are also, members of the cohort of both programs. So we really try to make this very student community driven, and obviously with guidance from the graduate directors and professors, but we really want to make this, in a way, outfacing to connecting with the industry. Okay, that's all I have to say about this one.
Thanks, Waco. That was a fun, random introduction.
I know, I just interrupt.
I like that though, fun style. Okay, so we'll travel back in time now and get to writing for the screens, program details, and application details.
While we have a pause,
Great.
Lisa, can I have to leave, but if anybody has any questions about the prod department, please feel free to email me. I'm going to put my email in the chat, and it was good to meet you all.
Bye, thanks for joining.
Great. All right. And by the way, I'm sure we're set up. I'm actually in the middle of teaching writing for the screen class. I'm kind of popping in to do this. So the writing for the screen admission, first of all, the program is basically, people like the difference between WPTV and writing for the screen. We're honing your skill set to be a feature screenwriter in a long form. Okay. So basically throughout your 3 years, you will basically write 3 feature-length screenplays in a workshop, and then 3 other classes where you're workshopping the rewrite of those 3 feature-length screenplays. So when you come out with the program, give it 3 samples, ready to go. That's professional level, that can engage representation, engage in contest, engage as a sample for, open writing assignments, and obviously at the same time, you will also have opportunities to write original TV pilots, also be in a writer's room kind of a class. And so you have opportunity to explore television, and based on your electives, you can take those classes. But our focus is to basically feature writing. Yeah. So our online, so here's the thing. So personal statement. So you write a creative essay or short story. And again, that expresses an understanding of, but we're going to list all these things. It doesn't mean you have to cover all these things. All right. It's just like a thing to get you going. Right. And the more specific you can, the better, right? So we don't expect you to cover all those things, but some things could be what lived experiences, your creativity, maybe specify 1 or 2 moments, and how that expands your voice and your perspective. What things are you curious and convicted to explore, with themes? In context of other literatures or movies are meaningful to you, how do you see your writing? What do you want to say now and why now? Right? What do you want to say and why now? So these are kind of things that, again, if you cover all of them, it's going to be just like brief. We're more excited to see how specific you can and what really means meaningful to you. So the kind of more specific, the better. But these are just kind of statement kind of moments, things like, in a way, prompts to get you thinking. Okay. And then a writing sample. So a maximum, okay, of 10 pages of either a complete script. A complete script meaning like, okay, a short film or something like that, 1 to 10 pages of something, right? Or excerpt from one of the following: a feature original screenplay, a pilot, podcast, or play. Yeah. And by the way, you can do 10 pages, but don't do like 3 pages from random places. It should be 10 pages that's in one go, right? Okay, 10 pages that's in one sequence. If you feel there needs to be context or set up, if you say, I want to show you my page 70 to 80 of my screenplay, then just give us a couple liners to kind of set up what happened between that, just so the admissions faculty can get a bit of context. And then, an optional additional sample is optional. Okay, don't feel you have to do it. You want to, but if you feel like maybe I haven't written as many kind of narrative, dramatic scripts, but I am a journalist. I wrote an article, or I'm a short story writer, a prose, an essay, So any of those kind of things in prose that's not like dramatic narrative, feel free to include, but a maximum of 5 pages. And 4 is a 1-paragraph synopsis. Again, it could be a brief, doesn't have to go crazy synopsis. Literally 3 or 4 lines of sentences, okay, of a new feature-length screenplay that you like to potentially write well in the program. So not something you're going to rehash, that you've written already, but just maybe one idea, that you feel like you maybe want to be part of your 3 feature-length screenplays that you come out of the program with. And then 5, a video recording, okay, of 2 minutes. And 2 minutes is max. It doesn't have to be all 2 minutes, but, it should be around 2 minutes, but not like 30 seconds, right? So that I would, depending on what your personal statement looks like, your video recording, you should just talk about something that's not in the personal statement. Yeah, something that's different, but just tell us about who you are, what kind of stories you want to tell, or just whatever you feel can get a sense of your perspective as a storyteller. So yeah, that's basically the idea with a record. Oh, and then obviously a 1-page resume, and we mean 1 page, resume. And 2 letters recommendation. And I think people are thinking about, I don't have a lot of industry experience, I don't have any writing. That's okay. We don't expect you to. So, but your resume, if you're like, I've done a lot of things in my life, what do I choose to put in the resume? I would say resume would be things that inform you maybe as a storyteller. So you worked as a legal assistant in a law firm. Maybe you write the next, law thriller movie. Who knows? You worked in a medical office. Things that you feel like you've gained, maybe story or character insights. Put those in. If you don't have all the industry like making short films and whatnot. So don't feel pressure that you have to have a list of like quote unquote direct experience. If it's just kind of humanistic storytelling experience, that'd be great. If you did Teach for America, that's part of that fascinating world of of perspective. An application deadline is November 15th, 2024. Yeah.
Great, thank you, Waco.
Yeah,
Now we'll shimmy on over to Melm with Graduate Director and Professor Roseanne Korenberg.
Thank you, Lisa. Hi, everyone. Good to see you all. Thank you for coming. I'm Roseanne Korenberg. I am the co-director of Melm, and I also am a professor of creative producing, which is part of the production department. And we are different than the other 3 programs. One, we're brand new, so I kicked off Mike Daly as the new program. We started in September. This is our first year. If you apply and are accepted and come, you'll be our second cohort. So we are still very new and excited and excitable. We're also a master program, as Lisa mentioned, not an MFA. So that means that we are a 1 year plus a summer, as opposed to a 3-year program. And another big difference from the other 3 programs is we are half in the business school, half in SFTV, the film school. So 50-50. it's unique for the film school, and it's also pretty unique in the country. There are not a lot of programs like this. So notwithstanding the kind of long-winded and fancy name for the program, basically the program is the business of entertainment. So again, unlike the other programs, you're not focusing on screenwriting, directing. We are looking at and teaching the fundamentals of the business of entertainment and preparing people to launch a career in entertainment. So our students come partly from a more business background and inclination and want to learn a lot about film and television in a year. And then we have students that are coming out of a more creative background and really feel strongly that it's a very tough industry, that they want to learn business essentials. We also have students applying and in our first cohort are not limited to business and film undergraduate degrees. We've got theater, we've got journalism. I mean, honestly, it could be anything. And what else? Yeah, and we touch on a little of everything. It's a jam-packed program because it's quick. So you take 10 classes, so it's a total of 30 credits. You take 3 core classes at the film school, a sort of introduction boot camp, marketing and management. And advanced producing and business affairs. And then in the business school, you take management and marketing and one that everybody looks forward to, accounting and finance. Just kidding. And nobody is really looking forward to that, but we have a fantastic faculty member who teaches that. So it'll be offered in January, and it'll be incredible, I think. And then there's a capstone project, which we are all incredibly excited about, where you either come up with one piece of content, you plan it, you don't shoot it. This is not a program designed to shoot, that's production. But you plan it and ideate, plan it, put a whole plan together. You do this in a team. You could come up with an idea for a new company, a new distribution company, a production company, and again, put together all the plans for that. Or you might want to work with a company, say a production company wants to start a label of horror films, working with an existing company, putting together a plan for them. So that's the capstone. We're very excited to see what everyone's going to do this summer. And everyone will have mentors for their capstone, as well as faculty members. And then you pick 3 electives from whichever school you want. So that's the program, fast and very concentrated. We also really encourage everyone to do internships while they're in the program, because that's very important to launching a career and getting hired when you get out of the program. I will touch briefly on the requirements, which are the top ones are the same as the other programs that the other directors touched on. For our personal statement, we want to know who you are and why you want to be in this program. What I'll say, seeing the first cohort, is that curiosity and initiative. Nobody's expecting you to lead anything immediately, but curiosity and initiative is really valued. So that's, if people ask me what I'm looking for, that's what I'm looking for in a personal statement. We have a very diverse set of interests, from not only film and television, but live events. So what are you passionate about? And then the personal video is different than the other programs. We have one prompt that's more business oriented, about solve something that you've solved in your past. And then the second prompt, talking about how you see yourself. Do you see yourself as more of a creative or a business oriented person? So again, just show us who you are and what your interests are. And do we have any more slides, Lisa? Oh, one more slide. We have we have a later admission date. That's a holdover from this year when we actually launched the program fairly late in the year. I will say this year, we've already gotten an influx of applications. We're going to admit students on a rolling basis. There's much more awareness around the program this year. So I would say if you are interested, go ahead, don't wait, don't hesitate, please apply as soon as possible because the slots are going to fill up much more quickly this year than they did last year. And if I have another minute, Lisa, do I have more time?
Yeah, we still have another 10 minutes left. The student panel doesn't start until 6.
Oh, okay. So I was going to mention a couple of things about this program because it is so different than the other programs. We're very industry focused and facing. We have an advisory board. It's on the website. We're still building it out, but they're industry people who are very interested in supporting the program. We have lots of guest speakers. As I mentioned, we have lots of mentors. They're not credited because the coursework is necessary, but we're in Los Angeles, close to companies. We have we give you a lot of help in finding internships and really encourage you to do at least one internship while you're here. And the MELM students don't shoot films or write scripts, but they are quite busy producing films in the other programs. They are attending conferences. They are going to entrepreneurial workshops at the business school. There is an opportunity to network at 2 different schools, which is a real plus, I think, that you have 2 different faculties, 2 different sets of opportunities. 2 of the first cohort are helping with a festival that we're launching in the spring. It'll be an AI-oriented film festival in March, and 2 of them just jumped in as program directors. They're the program directors, and the rest of the cohort is going to get involved in running it. So it's a program that, as I said, I would really love to have the next cohort have as much initiative and energy as this one. It is different than the creative producing program, which I teach in and is also a fantastic program. In that program, you apply to the production program, you go into that program, you do the basics in that program like everybody else, and then you elect to be a creative producer. So that's a big difference, and you lean much more heavily into the creative courses. So you're taking courses where you're much more deeply involved in the creative side. There's definitely some overlap because creative producers also have to learn about the business, but I think the big differentiator is you're much more deeply involved in the creative side of screenwriting and directing than the MELM students are. The MELM students, I'd say it's more of an option. If you like production and want to do that, you can, but it's not required the way it is as a MFA student in creative producing. And the last thing I'll mention is the first cohort has 11 students in it full-time. And I would guess next year we'll probably have 20 students. So it's a pretty intimate and bonded cohort of students.
Okay, and you can always contact us with any questions about the application, program, anything. We are at SFTV grad programs at lmu.edu, and that phone number in there is my direct line if you want to go ahead and save it.